About 30 years ago in the Bengali Tola of Lucknow, a young man used to learn tabla from one of the great gurus, and that's Abhigyan Prakash.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I would have loved to hear you play the tabla, but this will do. This will do, Abhigyan. Enjoying yourself, I can see.
This is actually Dholak on it, which I've got a chance to play after almost 25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it right now. I'm in the middle of recording my show, Mukabla. And the musicians here have given this to me. So
I was just telling our viewers that you learned the tabla.
Not...
I was just telling our viewers that you learned the tabla. And if anyone is old enough to remember the famous tune of The World This Week, the theme of The World This Week, played by Raifuddin Sabri, am I correct?
Right, yeah.
Sabri,
absolutely.
The tabla
He was a young
by Raifuddin
tabla
Sabri.
player from Delhi. Yeah.
And Abhigyan Prakash actually wrote a review about that theme in The Pioneer as a very young man, many years ago, when he used to, like me, watch The World This Week. Okay, moving away from the music, Abhigyan, what's the political music in Varanasi?
Well, political music is all about Bharatiya Janata Party and Modi right now. As you know, the city has been under a siege of people. Every small, city-level leader of the BJP or a senior leader of the BJP, the young brigade of the BJP, everyone is here to make sure that Modi sees their face and realizes that they were all campaigning and working for him. In fact, during the course of this program, which I'm recording right now, a very interesting term was used on it, and you'll love that. There's a lot of political tourists in Banaras now. Yeah. Actually, workers who've got nothing to do with Banaras city, who've just descended in thousands of the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP and everyone else in Banaras right now.
In fact, I know a few I know someone who's actually taken leave and come there to see Modi working his magic. But, you know, one also senses a bit of nervousness in the camp. Or is this just for show? The fact that taking on the EC or saying that the elections are being rigged and there's booth capturing going on, is it just creating the ground for what might end up being not that many seats in UP?
Yeah, there are two it's a very good question, Anand, you've asked, because you see, there are two I've been traveling back to UP from Lucknow to Ayodhya to Faizabad, then to Allahabad, and then finally coming this belt to Banaras. There's no doubt about the fact that Mulayam Singh Yadav has tried to hold on to what the Samajwadi Party's traditional strength is. And that has definitely unnerved the BJP camp. So the comfort possibly they had about 2 to 3 weeks ago did not seem very likely. But another thing, typical to the Modi style of politics, Modi's managers of politics, it's all about hype. So I think this whole EC episode also is related to the fact that we are there, we are winning, there's no nervousness, we'll take you on. So it's a lot of that right now, which seems, as I said, every small or big BJP leader is in Banaras claiming that he's working for Modi's campaign. Frankly, I don't even know whether Modi would need this kind of a support system. But there's definitely that little sense, as you asked, a very good question, that seems to be there in the BJP right now.
Because if I remember, in 2009, Advani used to talk about the EVM and say that the EVM can easily be rigged, right? And even at that time, there was an attack on the EC. And we did see that at the end of the day, the BJP did not reach the numbers that opinion polls actually had mentioned. I remember the Nielsen poll of 2009, the last poll that they did, or the exit poll perhaps, in which they gave the NDA more than the UPA. It didn't turn out to be that. You have covered these elections for many years, and I remember in 2004, you had been talking about how the wind was changing at the last moment, and a person like Pramod Mahajan was already sensing it. In the last stages, they had begun to sense, and at that time, the public rhetoric was also changing gradually. Is this the beginning of the change of the public rhetoric, or is the media reading too much into it at the moment?
See, again, a very good question, because it was 5 phases election in 2004. Classically, from the 3rd phase onwards, exit polls were allowed. Then BJP first time got a jolt, and people like Pramod Mahajan did, that the BJP is not actually doing that well. Importantly, which was the area from where BJP started sliding? It was this, UP, where we are right now, and parts of this in 2004. Another big problem is that when you pitch Modi that high, with the kind of campaign you've built for Modi everywhere, the point is, people here in Banaras are talking about, if he wins, what will be the margin of victory? Now, imagine a scenario that if Modi wins Banaras by maybe just 10,000 votes, that will actually be defeat for a Narendra Modi. It will not be victory for a Narendra Modi from Banaras. So a lot of that hype has gone so high that's very difficult to read into it. The only thing, when I spoke to people at various dhabas, and all my journey has been by train and road, definitely seems that Mulayam in his traditional belt is holding back. So it's very important for BJP when you pitch it there. That's exactly what they did to Atal Bihari Vajpayee through India Shining in 2004. You also have to hold it there, and I think that is what is causing nervousness right now quite clearly.
In fact, if one also looks at, you've been tracking, you went to Faizabad, Modi, without perhaps mentioning it, more or less brought back that Ram Mandir rhetoric. But, you know, in that place, one can't be a BJP leader and not do that. It would be it would be expecting too much for him not to have done that. And then he goes and talks about ki main nichi jati ka hoon. So that gives you a sense that here was a man who was actually fighting a battle almost entirely on the Gujarat development issue, that someone in a village in UP was talking about development in Gujarat. I saw a story by our colleague Srinivasan Jain in one of the villages in the Varanasi constituency, where a Kurmi woman was saying ki I'm going to vote for Modi because of what has happened in Gujarat. So that, moving away from the rhetoric, we see Modi actually talking about caste, trying to position himself as a backward caste person. Does that indicate what you're saying, that he is a little worried about how strong Samajwadi Party has actually ended up being?
Oh, absolutely. It's very clear. If you see the reports that I've done in Target 272, I've been to Faizabad, a village from there, Allahabad, a village from there. I went to Ayodhya. Ayodhya is completely my big question is that if Narendra Modi had the courage, why didn't he come to Ayodhya? Why does he have to go to Faizabad and still try and, you know, halfway rake up the Ram Mandir issue? Narendra Modi is not an alien to the politics of the 90s. He was as much part of the BJP's structural organization as anyone else was in the 90s. He doesn't go to Ayodhya. See, this is the problem. You're trying to play this clever card, take on, you know, still try and raise Ram Mandir somehow or the other, and also do a public meeting in Faizabad and not go to Ayodhya. You go to Ayodhya, say to the people, as I asked Sharad Pradhan in Ayodhya, what will a Modi answer if I ask him a question? Any journalist asks him a question, what is your stand on Ayodhya? Now, it's just one line that they've mentioned in the manifesto, which I showed in my report from Ayodhya. The fact is that you're still somewhere treading that little line. You want to sell and pitch yourself as this man who changed Gujarat. I have shown you pictures of a village next to Hazira, the greatest industrial township in Gujarat, how people have not been compensated for 25 years despite industrialization in the area. So the fact is that there's some kind of confusion. A section wants Modi to come out and say it in the open, but Modi wants to go to Faizabad and not cross 10 kilometers and go to Ayodhya. Why doesn't, in a 2014 election, Modi goes and visits the makeshift Ram temple? So that is where the problem lies. And this is a clever confusion that BJP and Modi himself, Aunindyo, are also trying to deal with.
It's a difficult thing. In fact, I'm going to let you go in, but I have one final question, and this is a slightly tricky question. Since you understand the inner workings of these parties, that's why I'm asking you. You know, one is seeing an attack on the EC. In fact, the EC is going to be holding a full-fledged press conference in about 1.5 hours from now to take on this issue. But the person at the forefront is actually an Arun Jaitley. You know, a man who has had very good contacts with the media. somehow the attack on the EC is being done by Arun Jaitley. At the same time, we are seeing a lot of speculation in the media that the attack on the EC is a sign of the weakening of the wave. How would you read that?
I would, I know media's, you know, we are the set of people who are slammed by anybody and everybody. You know, it almost seems free of cost slamming the media. But there is an important point that you're making on India. One has to see it. It's also 2 points. Let me make it very clear that Arun Jaitley is also as a leader in a position where he has to prove himself more loyal than he could ever prove himself more loyal to Narendra Modi. And secondly, of course, as I made this point, it's such a hype that you've created about Narendra Modi that, you know, I mean, the Gujarat Satta Bazaar numbers were going beyond 300 for Modi. You hear all kinds of things. So you have to show that if anything goes wrong, we're going to blame the system. We'll say this didn't go right. EVMs have been questioned by people like Captain Amrinder Singh, Jayalalitha in the past. So the point is that you will always keep in the backup strategy. I know it's a very tricky question. That kind of a thing that this would have happened if this did not happen. So it's one of those politics which seems to be played around. And then obviously play maybe the martyr card if something goes against you.
Yeah. Okay, Abhigyan, go back to your shoot. I understand you've taken out time for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a few days left and then we'll know what the results are. Just to, before you go, why don't you just play us something on the Dholak?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
On popular demand.
Oh, this is
actually, it's on popular demand.
This is special for my... okay, this is for my special friend Aunindyo Chakravarty. I'm playing it after many years, so let me try it.
Oh, great.
This is the only thing, Aunindyo, on a signing off note, Modi and Kejriwal can't do in Banaras, which I can.
Okay, Abhigyan, thanks so much for joining us.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. That was Abhigyan Prakash from Varanasi.